Hello, I am Kamurai, and that's my overlay that has my face in it somewhere. So I apologize, but we're going to do this anyways. Um, this is where I get together with myself and talk about things and stuff I've been watching. And occasionally there are kitties. This one's giant size, but he's like napping. Um, I had notes here. There we are. As usual, as we've been doing, not as usual, but as we've been doing, we're going to start off with Rooster Teeth, the entertainment company. So on Red versus Blue, we're building a lot. Miles is doing a really good job of building things, and then hitting us with something like major. So he's going to continue doing that, is what it looks like. So we've got Santa, we've got the doctor utilizing Freckles with Caboose. It's a very complicated thing that's happening here. Spoiler alert, Doc's back. If you haven't noticed, he's been missing for quite some time. We find out who gets binded to the other key. That's one I don't want to spoil, because whether it's good guys or bad guys, you should watch, find out. But it's really going good, and I really think by episode 12 we're gonna have something huge happen. Because right now things are wrapping up, and we're starting to lean towards the main battle, if you will. Yeah, I think it's the right way to say that without spoiling anything. But I really enjoyed it so far. Caboose is still like my favorite. He just gets all the best friends. Carolina's still rocking that leg injury that I have issues with. I'm really hoping that comes to, like, it gets used well. Let's say that, because I'm really irritated that it's a thing. Because it was bullshit that she ever got stabbed. On the spot last week, Lindsey Jones and who was the special guest? Damn it. But we had the breast cam. Check that out. Aaron and Barbara Dunkelman return as a co-team, and they are Team Breast for this one. And then Lindsay was teaming up with our special guest, Mika Burton. That's right. I knew I just couldn't get her name in my head. But she was really delightful. She was almost too professional for on the spot. So I said that I wanted more not Rooster Teeth people on the show. And maybe I take that back. Maybe I just want people that are going to actually like respect that Reisinger's doing something and not just ruin the show. But at the same time, I almost would like to see Rooster Teeth Jeopardy, where it's essentially Celebrity Jeopardy from SNL, but use the Rooster Teeth people to do what the annoying celebrities would do, because they're going to do that pretty much on their own anyways. And then John or whoever the host is can just kind of assign points, kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyways? I would love to see them do Whose Line Is It Anyways, just for the record. I finally watched Big Hero 6, and I totally get all the hype and all the apathy surrounding it. It's really weird that I got both those in there, but like, I saw the movie, like, I definitely got the hype. I definitely see why this was a big thing. I'm so glad that it became a movie, because I know it was a really obscure comic book. But at the same time, it's like, well, it wasn't that special. Like, you've got to be like a super geek to get that crazy about all the tech that's being used, and like how maybe you'd approach doing that, particularly the microbots, because that was by far the coolest thing in the entire movie. But the plot itself was really kind of subpar, and really depressing when it comes down to it. I'm going to go ahead and spoil things, because the whole thing is that the sleazy corporate guy who you think's a bad guy is actually still probably a bad guy, but he's not the main villain. And then the good-hearted professor is actually this evil mastermind, but he's also a overwrought sociopath or psychopath. And his very actions to get revenge for losing his daughter become the very things that undo him being able to be with his daughter when those actions get her back. They result in getting her back. They didn't get her back, but the team got her back. So like they're heavy irony. Really weird to end a kids movie on that. Pig kick his ass, man. Tux is just begging for fights. So like I really like Big Hero 6. Damn, Baymax, that's his name. Was a really cool character. I could see people producing real Baymaxes, not fully functional like that per se, but definitely like looking like him and moving around. So I expect to see that in Disneyland, Disney World in the next year, if it's not already there. Okay, so I'm doing things a little bit more out of order just because we're changing over seasonally, and I want to talk about all the finale stuff at the end together. But I finally got exposed to Bob's Burgers, and it only took about 10 episodes to really see what everyone was on about. Because the first episode, the first impression I had with it was like, why the fuck do I care? Like, it was a weird... It's the whole reason I haven't watched it because it was just a weird cartoon that people talk about. And I hear it in the same conversations with Adventure Time and SpongeBob, and I hate SpongeBob. And I don't enjoy Adventure Time like other people do, so it's like, I'll watch something else. And I've also heard it with The Simpsons, and The Simpsons is a good show, objectively, but I just don't enjoy it as much. I watch Family Guy, but I can't say that, like, I love Family Guy, but it used to just entertain me so much that I'm always curious to see kind of what they're doing next. I don't really go back and watch Family Guy anymore. It's kind of lost its replay value. But Bob's Burgers, like, I feel like we're missing a whole story. Like, the intro is literally them having incident after incident and reopening, so that when they reopen, they're on their fourth reopening. And the whole running joke is that they're not doing well enough to really get by. So I would have liked to start the story back like a year at the first opening. Like, I'd like a prequel to Bob's Burgers where it's like, honey, I'm going to open my burger shop or whatever it is. Unless it's always been there, because that was one thing that's really unclear to me. It seems like his dad had a burger shop, but I can't tell that it's the same one. Which would make sense because when Bob grew up and moved out of his house and married Linda, they wouldn't have moved in with his parents, right? And then unless they killed their parents. See, it's just there's some little pieces of information that either I fell asleep for or I don't know. But like 10 episodes, I definitely saw what it was. I knew I was going to watch it all the way through. But those first 3 episodes were really rough. It was like, this? Because there were some really funny moments, but like the first like crazy edgy thing was like Tina had a rash on her crotch. And so it kind of became like, I think we were supposed to relate to the dad. Like, oh, I got to deal with these crazy kids. Like, don't touch people. Don't touch food. And then like, it was really like a March 22 because you don't care unless you've watched. That anyone who watches through the first season is going to watch the next 3. I think that's what it is, 4 seasons. The thing that bothers me, especially in these universes, especially one of the reasons The Simpsons bothers me, is what is going on behind me? What are you doing? How about you don't do that? Is that people don't age. It's ridiculous that like the kids don't age. I would have loved The Simpsons, I think, if they had taken like a Degrassi approach to it, where like each year is a school year, or not necessarily a school year, but like a real year. And then so that when that contains the school year, so we have a chronology. Family Guy bothers me a lot, especially this far, because that's one of the jokes now is that it doesn't follow its own chronology, because there's the whole thing with Joe's wife being pregnant for so long, and then the rate at which their son grew up versus Meg and Chris and Stewie, and then their daughter, I think. So it's just bizarre. It messes with me a lot. I would like to map it out and be able to map it out. And I know it ends on like that high note, in that like they stopped the war from being sold, and the brother goes to jail. But I cannot remember what happens with Bob's. I think maybe just the world persists. And I don't know if there's a season 5 or not. I'll have to look into that. Between's pissing me off again. Just get Netflix. Just give us the damn series. I can't understand why they have two different methods where they're doing week by weeks. I think they're trying to experiment with it. Whoa, sweetheart, we need to get rid of that. Oh, go away. All right, bye. Man, if you weren't all afraid of brushes, so damn it, it's everywhere. Between is a week by week, and I really liked the concept. It's everyone over the age of 21 in the town dies. It's isolated to this town for whatever reason. And the first episode's really rough because it's really just seeing who's actually going to die and who's not going to die. And then the second episode, they're going through like every single scenario that's bad for when you're in a end of the world scenario. Like you've got people looting and stealing, you've got romantic entanglements, you've got rapists, you've got all kind of weird, stupid shit. You've got underage drinking, you've got just stupid shit. People trying to think that they're police, and just everyone's just stupid. That's really the long and short of it, is that none of them are trying to get by. They're taking the stupid kid approach with it, other than like a handful of people where it's like, oh, this will be over and mom will bring me a pizza later. They're just looking at it as like an inconvenience, like they're bitching about like the power and phones being out, and like, God, I can't believe we can't tweet to the outside world. So who cares? Like there's lots of annoying things, but I'm gonna stick with it for the moment. I'm gonna skip over that and come back to it. Hidden Kingdoms. This was another thing. I don't know why. It's one of the reasons why I like the Pixies from like Neverland so much. I love the scaling. I like the idea of being tiny in a normal sized world, so that you have tiny stuff, giant size, and then you're normal size essentially. So Hidden Kingdoms is like a little nature documentary. It only has like 3 little hour-long episodes, but it's let's see what they were about. Like one of them was like an elephant shrew and a mouse that eats scorpions, which was fantastic. But that was really neat. I love finding like little documentaries like that. They're like, oh, that's neat information, and it's entertaining. I just wish they wouldn't jump around when they do it, because they'll pop back and forth. It's like, why don't you talk to me about caimans for a minute, and tell me all the mammals that kill caimans? Because like this is a YouTube thing. Like I found recently, like actually learned some disturbing stuff about otters today, but caimans are just a shit crocodile. Jaguars will come up and like just snap their necks and run off with them. Giant river otters will group up and just beat a caiman to death. And the caiman's too stupid to do anything about it. I think if you just latched on and ripped one apart and then got the next one, I think he'd be fine. Or if he'd gone away in the first place, but he tried to stand his ground, and then too many of them showed up. And then just otters are crazy, and then like there's dolphins are assholes. They just kill things for no reason. Seals or leopard seals, I don't know, like are raping penguins. Otters are raping baby seals. I don't understand. It's a lot of knowledge like maybe we didn't want, but it's there. So that's YouTube. That's been that. Horrible. Sex Ed. Haley Joel Osment gets to teach kids in after program about sexual education when they don't know things. They have all these questions. And I think it's definitely a movie that needs to get made. And his romantic entanglement in that entire thing is odd. But I'm trying to think how it may have worked out for him. Because it was one of those things like where it's like the girl he actually liked was a piece of shit. Let's be honest. I just don't remember what they did with them. The focus of the story really was about trying to get a program installed for the kids to learn about things without having that awkward moment, because it's like they're like the big headline in like the We Need This class was like, I can't talk to my dad about anal sex. So there's that. So it was really funny. It's good to see Haley Joel Osment on screen, I'll be honest. But it is kind of weird after all this time. It's like, oh, he's still an actor. A movie I was incredibly surprised about. I don't know why Adam Sandler just occasionally will put out these movies that'll take you completely by surprise. The Cobbler. He plays like a Jewish shoemaker in New York or wherever. And he lives next door to he works next to a barber. And then like one day, like his stitcher breaks, so he goes down to the basement to use this really old stitcher to get this job done. And the stitcher in the basement imbues the power, or him with the power to be able to put on other people's shoes and literally walk in their shoes. So he looks like them. And so there's this great plot where he gets mixed up with a gangster who's supposed to set fire and kill this guy who refuses to move out of his apartment because that's where he lived. That's where he wanted to die, because it's where his wife lived when she died. And then that project to save him happens to be run by the love interest of Adam Sandler, who's just like, he really plays like the good guy, like doesn't want to take money that's not his. He helps out like pretty much everybody he meets. So it's really almost like a Thor's hammer. It's like, if you be worthy, you can have this thing. I'd like to kind of see what somebody would do with it if they were like crazy bad, but that may be his father's story. I'll leave that one sitting in the wind, but check out The Cobbler. Definitely worth the watch, at least the first time. Hector in the Search for Happiness. Normally Simon Pegg hits him out of the park. Simon Pegg plays a psychiatrist that decides he has to get out of his ruddy little life and explore the world in search of what it means to be happy. Because he doesn't know that he's happy, because he doesn't have any perspective on it. He just knows that he's content. So he does that, and it's problems ensue, and he deals with it, and that's your movie. It's not the best. I'd say watch The Cobbler over it for sure. For me to put Adam Sandler over Simon Pegg, I think that says a lot. Though Adam Sandler's discounted more often than he should be. I'll say that too. For whatever reason, I felt like having a flashback and watching Employee of the Month. Dan Cook, another actor that I think people look and see he's in the movie and be like, oh, he's in that? He's in some great movies. Dan in Real Life, fantastic. And he does a good job in the movies, too. I'm not saying that the movie's good and he sucks. He was pretty good in Good Luck Chuck. You could have gone a couple different ways with that one, but I think he did really good And Employee of the Month was the first one I remember watching where I thought he broke out. And Jessica Simpson, I didn't realize how much she had her boobs out for this one, though. And I'm kind of hoping her ears are that big in real life because it gives her a humanizing flaw that you can relate to. And I didn't mind when she got big or whatever. Like, have your baby get whatever size you are. Or if you want to work back down, work back down. Whatever, Jessica Simpson. Enjoy life. But I remember her being a better actress when I was younger than now, which I think I have to go with the later opinion because now I've watched enough movies and I know enough things about things to kind of pick out a little better. But it's amazing to go back and see some of the people that are in this movie and be like, oh, wow, that's what they were doing back then? And then compare it to some of their later stuff or their other movies and be like, oh, yeah. Like, for example, the Iqbal character, that guy was... Oh, no, he wasn't. That's probably racist on my part somehow. But I've seen him in a lot of other stuff. Hopefully I'm thinking the right guy. And I've always liked him. But it's good to see him have a slightly more aggressive role. Like Employee of the Month. Which it actually has like a bucket of morals and lessons to it. So that's good on its own. Out of the Dark is a movie I've been trying to watch, and I can't stay awake through it. Maybe my timing on it's really bad, but it's Julia Stiles, and her husband moved to Brazil or whatever with their daughter to this town where when the Spaniards came, or I guess if it's Brazil, it would be the Portuguese, but like they burned and killed all the children in the village for whatever reason. So now it's a memorial thing that they do all the time. And those ghosts haunt the village. Oh, that's pretty much all you need to know. Their little girl has issues because things, and they're trying to deal with all the ghosts and everything. So there's that. I will say that my next item, it was really good. I really liked it, but it wasn't as good as the other two seasons. Season 3 of Orange is the New Black. I would say that the thing that changes this so dramatically is that the first season especially focuses on Chapman. It's all about Chapman. She's the most boring fucking character in the world. Season 2 came around. They focused it heavily on everyone else with her still being the focal point, which I really liked. It was like, oh, we get so much more information on all these other interesting characters. Fuck Chapman. Though she actually had a compelling story, at least as far as Doggett. Pennskentucky? I don't know. The girl that that tried to kill Chapman in the end of season 1, and Healy let it happen. And Chapman's actually been through a lot. Even if she was a spoiled little rich girl and she was involved with this crime family, like, even if it was through Voss, she's been through a fuck of a lot of upheaval. And so in the season 3, like, she's definitely got to be a different person. I think they took that to heart, and I think they actually said it directly. It's like, well, if you just stop pretending you were such a good person, Chapman. And I think she embraces that, and she just goes full tilt. And it really contrasts with Voss, because Voss believes that they're good people doing whatever they do. It just what they do happens to be against the law. Whereas Chapman always viewed it as like something bad, something naughty, and like she felt good for getting away with it while she was with Alex, but she felt so bad about it eventually that she turned herself into prison. And she just tried to hold on to her to whatever moral she had for so long, and now she's just throwing it all in the window. It's super unsettling to watch evil Chapman. And this other girl comes in and embraces evil Chapman for the most part, because that's the rock and roll lifestyle that she leads. The Australian girl, I can't even remember what her name is, which has a bevy of its own problems, and I cannot for the life of me spoil her storyline in the show. But the Australian chick, as soon as you hear the accent and you see her short hair, big lips, and tattoos, You're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Watch that character. That is a fucking good storyline. And it makes the point of who Chapman is this season. And it really sets a tone for season 4 to up the ante. So I think as good a season as this is, and while it's not as good as the other two, I think this is going to do an Amazing Spider-Man 2 for us. When we get to seasons 4 and 5, season 3, in retrospect, will be an amazing season. Like if they had continued Amazing Spider-Man to the inevitable Sinister Six movies, Amazing Spider-Man 2 would probably be one of the best movies in the series because it set up things very specifically. And the problem with Sony is they can't get someone, or they can't get the commitment to use Spider-Man correctly in the first place, let alone for long enough to make something happen. They're just paying attention to their quarterly reviews. All they care about is having a boatload of money now. They don't care about the notoriety. It's sickening. And I agree with Mark Gardner a lot too. He's been bringing this up lately. He works over on Weird Girls. He does Daily Dot every week. I just like the fuckers in Hollywood and in the control business. They look at proven formulas. They go, well, this makes money, so I don't know why that accent, but this makes money, so we do this. And so they don't want to take risks on doing female fan bases. They're not paying attention to social media because it's a new thing. They're paying attention to reports that their trusted old-timey friends hand them and say, these are numbers, these are what go up and down, and this is how we make the money. And it's worked for 40 years, so why wouldn't it work now? It won't work forever because things are changing too rapidly. Technology has increased exponentially, and we're seeing it in the video game industry, we're seeing it in the movie industry, we're seeing it on television or serial industry. But I gotta hand it to Orange is the New Black. They definitely ended on the upswing, leaving me thinking about what's going to happen next. Yes, it's not on a single note. It's a very generalized, like, oh my God, what are they going to do with her next? It's not like, oh my God, how is this one thing going to resolve? Those are the two different ways that you can do cliffhangers. And if you do the first one wrong, it feels like you just stopped instead of actually ending the story arc. But they wrapped the story arc up. And it was like, oh, so now you're left wondering, I wonder what the next great story arc is going to be. Melissa and Joey, real quick, just because it's on my thing. For whatever reason, it's still spewing out episodes here and there. I thought they had hit the end of season with Warner going to the Navy, but apparently they're still doing episodics. We're on episode 14, so I'm expecting them to go to 24. So we probably have like 10 more. We'll see those come out whenever they come out. I haven't seen one come out in a while, so I don't know what happened with it. Back to good stuff. iZombie. Holy crap. That was a good way to end the thing. Talk about wrapping up storylines. And then leaving it open-ended and built for new ones. Oh my God. They closed off a couple serious avenues. They left us on a, like, I thought at several points that they were about to stop the episode and just leave us wondering, how is that going to resolve? But they took all the main storylines that were happening, they wrapped them up. They converted the one for Blaine because Blaine was running a zombie network. And spoilers, I got to address this. With Blaine being cured and not doing that anymore, is he just going to get reinfected? Can he get reinfected? Those are the questions. Is the cure going to kill him? And then she made the decision to zombify Duder and use the last thing on him to save him, so that he wouldn't resent her for making him a zombie. And then, sure enough, her brother's there, and they don't have any more serum. They can't duplicate it unless they extract it back out of... I can't remember his name, her boyfriend. his blood, because they can do that, or they could recreate it from scratch. Like Robbie's got the information. If they get their hands on more tainted utopium, then it's very possible they could go through the process again. But again, spoilers, the very last thing that we end on, and they leave us on that second cliffhanger, how is this going to resolve? She says she doesn't want to give her brother blood because she doesn't want him to be zombified. So that is definitely a thing. It's like we're all going to, when season 2 comes around, it's going to be like, how did that resolve? We're going to have immediate questions, not like this nice, enjoyable, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. It's what happened with this. So that's nice. So that's nice that knows how to do it. Real quick before we move on to the big of the bigs. Elementary. I caught up on season 3 of Elementary since last I talked about it. Holy crap. This is definitely the first type of cliffhanger. It's very much leaves us wondering what's going to happen to Sherlock, because the last episode is just friggin' brutal on how it handles things. That whole thing. But what I don't get is smart as Sherlock is, as strong as he was the entire episode, and how he figured everything out, as maybe it's just relief from being stressed out, and not having any more strength once his motivation was gone. But spoilers, seeing him use and go and have a setback like that, like, is that it? Is that done? Are we done with Elementary altogether? And I can't bring myself to look at IMDb to see if another season's upcoming, because like, I want that element of surprise, honestly. I don't think... I don't know. I just want... I don't know. I want it not to be so, but I think that's the best way to do, is just to end it right there. I wanted more Moriarty. Maybe that would be good. If she wasn't too busy with Game of Thrones, give her her own show. Just call it Moriarty. Okay, and I'm going to follow up with Game of Thrones and then talk about Silicon Valley, because here's the problem with Game of Thrones right now. Going off book, or going away from the book, George R. R. Martin's direct vision, I know we've been deviating for quite some time at this point. But I can't say that it's been for the worst. I've had some people point out some differences because I haven't caught up to the books yet. We'll be done with the series before I actually get into the books. I think that's the way I want it to. So when I start reading, I don't have to stop. Or when I start listening to the audiobooks, because I don't really read that much anymore. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so they started wrapping up storylines, but they did something that I thought was unconventional and unusual for Game of Thrones. They took the endings to some of their story arcs, and instead of giving us that second cliffhanger where it's like we tune in next season waiting, just begging to see how this resolved. But instead, we're going to go back with that same intensity, looking for the answer to the first. Like, what's going to happen with this area or these characters next? So we'll kind of walk through the map, like down the bottom. I can't believe they fucking ended like that. I have expected that one Sand Snake to go with Braum, but I can't understand the motivations there, unless we're gonna turn around. Spoilers for the rest of this. Turn around and kill the King of Dorne. The motivation for poisoning that little girl with the prince on board just doesn't make any sense, because the prince is going to go, oh, she's dead, turn around, take me home. And once she's dead, she's dead. Can't do anything about that. But obviously, it's the Sand Snakes. So not only is this going to be war, but the king of Dorn or whatever his name is better kill those bitches. Like, I could see Braum bidding for the pretty one's life, because he's like, I owe her a debt. I can't pay it if she's dead. But she'll come with us so she can't cause you any more issues or whatever. And then kill the other two, because they're troublemakers at this point. The Sand Snakes are a terrorist group, which, as far as I can tell, represent a very small minority. Not that the Dorns are going to love the Lannisters any better, but like, there's just no point to add any more war to this fucking country. It's very egotistic, if nothing else. And she was a sweet character, and like, she seemed really pure. But I think it was a good metaphor for like all the good of Cersei dying. Is that where I want to go next? Nah, we'll come back to King's Landing. To the east. Her being just lost is funny to me. Like, I don't know where I'm at. Can you fly me back? No, I'm going to take a nap. And the dragon probably sleep there for like a week, healing up wounds, and not have to eat. So she's on her own there. And then the Dothraki that found her, like, I don't know. Like, that's one of the few that I'm like, how does that resolve? Do they capture her? Do they kill her? Do they try to attack the dragon? Does the dragon have to save her again? Or are they followers? Is this her new army that she can use to take back the city? And then she'll use whatever Unsullied she has left as personal guard, probably. But Essos, I finally heard the name of where they're at. But with Jorah and the consort trying to track her down, and Tyrion and the Handmaiden in charge, like, that whole area is about to get very interesting, and hopefully it stays interesting for the entire season. All right, so that's the south, and that's the east. East, if you're on your screen, south and east. What's happening in the west? I'm trying to remember where. That place. That's all been dead for the most part. Really, the south and then the east is where we're going, and then the Greyjoys are up here, and then Tyrell is here. They're tied up in King's Landing, which is over here on the east side of Westeros. I'm getting my things mixed up here. So if east is that way, yeah. So east is that way. So like King's Landing, House Tyrell, Greyjoys, Baratheons over here. But they went all the way north and to fight their way south, which was a really weird strategy. But I was all Team Stannis for a while there, because it's like, well, not only does he have legitimacy, but like, I really like some of the characters that he had surrounding him. They were at least interesting, if nothing else. And there's some really neat theories about why the Smoke Lady seduces who she seduces, revolving around royal blood. So, like, the fact that she was after Jon Snow actually makes a lot of interesting things. But fuck Stannis. Hashtag fuck Stannis. I can't believe he burned his daughter at the stake. What the fuck? The fuck. I was glad Bolton's got him. And they made the right choice, like, run out there before they can dig their little ditches or rest. That was a smart thing. I hate Ramsay, but I got to mixed feelings of affection because he took out Stannis. So there's that. Then, like, while he was away, that was actually another good thing that, like, we got to see happening there. With Reed, I was actually sad. I don't know why Ramsey bothers me, but I like Miranda. I think it's because Miranda's actually kind of sweet. Like, I don't pick her off as a sociopath because it's not like a hereditary, like I learned it from my father thing. It's, this is what my boyfriend's into, and I want to impress him. So when it comes down to him, like, she kind of goes there, but she's not as good at it for most of it. But she was actually really intriguing me there. Like, that's actually pretty smart what she's saying. And I really was getting into like having the idea that she's going to be around. And if Sansa escaped, like, what would happen with her? Now, sad to see her tiny little thing go. But them jump over the wall was really interesting. Then if we go a little farther north, we have the mutiny at the wall. I don't know how they're going to cover that up. That doesn't make any sense. And if maybe are the White Walkers going to take Jon? Like, what's going to happen there? Because they just left him in the snow. And then are the rest of the Watch actually going to follow Sir Fucky Face? I don't know his name. He's an asshole. What's going to happen with the Wildlings? Is that where they were going next after they killed Jon Snow? Was to go kill the Wildlings? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that anyone would go see the White Walkers, see the army of the undead, and still not be on Snow's side. And maybe that was the problem, that the Rangers didn't or the Mutineers didn't accompany him there. Maybe that's what they needed to see, was the army of the undead and the White Walkers for themselves. I don't even know if they ever saw the White Walkers. He may just think it's like a myth at this point still, that it's just stories that everybody's made up. Maybe he's trying to rationalize the craziness that's going on in their heads. And he doesn't want to believe, so that he's going to do all this horrible shit. He's going to kill all the wildlings, and then the White Walkers are going to come take the wall. Oh, man. So there's some magic involved with the wall, too. And it involves, like, the blood of Starks. So there's that. Okay, so that's the south. The far east. The north. Let's come back to King's Landing. I'm disappointed that we haven't gotten any resolution with Littlefinger. He's been the guy with his hand in every cookie jar. Oh, Bravos. I apologize. Bravos. I forgot about it. Which I think is west. No, it's got to be east. So Daenerys is actually heading towards Arya. I think that's how it is. I knew that she was going to end up at the brothel. I didn't know how far that was going to go. I was pretty sure she was going to kill her, but I knew as soon as she was there that she fucked up, because she was there as Arya Stark crossing somebody off her list. She wasn't no one like the man wanted. But they had a really cool scene where they were pulling masks. And then she got to her own face. So who knows if maybe that'll force some of the training. I don't think she's dead. I think like she'll have an issue, something else to overcome. And then we won't see her for a while, and then suddenly she'll be no one. But the problem is that somebody's going to recognize her true face at some point. Yeah, it's just going to happen. Same thing with Sansa once she gets somewhere else. Like, Reed's only going to be able to take her so far before, like, whatever is going to happen there. And I don't know who's going to take out the Boltons now, because it's not going to be Littlefinger. Stannis was the only one with enough manpower in the north to actually do it. Fuck, unless the Wildlings do it, maybe. I don't know. There didn't seem to be much of them left either. The Lannisters aren't going to bother because they're in good standing. They're just like everybody seems to be really short on troops. Even Dorne doesn't seem to have like a very large army, from what I can gather. And then Lannisters are hurt. The biggest thing is that in King's Landing, we've got this fucking religious uprising, which is a bunch of bullshit. Fuck those guys. What is it? The Seven? Is that what they are? Is that the old gods or the new? I can't remember. Doesn't make sense. It have to be new gods because the old gods are held in the north more than the south. Anyways, that's still some crazy shit going on. I can't believe it went that long. I can't believe Cersei ever thought that would work out well for her. But for some fucked up reason, they let her lie and confess, and then walk naked back to the capital. She's gonna lay waste to the entire city. Fuck those citizens. She's just gonna kill everyone. And they got the mountain up and running. That was really cool to see her kind of picked up in his arms. She's gonna use him and the rest of the guards, and she's gonna go to war. Exactly what it's going to be. That's all that's going to be happening in King's Landing. It's a civil war against the army she created, because she can't stand not being on top. Fucking idiot. Tommen's still a little bitch. His wife's still in prison. That's the unfortunate thing, is I think she's going to get killed in her cell. I don't think she's coming back. I think even if Cersei leads the army out against the fanatics, I think even if they go to rescue her, I think Cersei will stab the Tyrellians in the cell. I don't think they're ever making it out of that hold. But the Seven followers are all crazy enough that they'll be glad to die. And that would be the high spirit. It's just be a very calm conversation. Be like, well, come slit my throat then. I'll be with the gods soon enough, and you'll be punished forever. So fuck that. But the end result should be that the religion is not just demilitarized, that it's actually banned, that it becomes illegal. And that'll be fun. Because we can't all just be moral, upstanding people. All right, let's move on to Silicon Valley. I've been using Silicon Valley as a palate cleanser because Game of Thrones throws so much at you that you're just like, fuck. And then Silicon Valley happens. The whole thing there was that there was the camera. They were handling like hundreds of thousands of views through their shitty little apartment server place. Like to the point where things are catching on fire. They're trying to upgrade things on the fly. Just the ridiculous prospect of it all. Because it was basically like he's gonna pee and have to drink his own pee just to have water or something. But the whole time, Richard's in not court over binding arbitration for this thing, and it's this fucking seesaw of emotions of like, oh, we lost, delete everything, to, oh no, we won, don't delete everything, to, oh my god, we deleted everything, to, oh my god, it didn't actually delete, to like the business side of things where like the millionaire guys sold them, and it's like Richard got fired from his own company, which is horseshit. You can't have a company without him. So it's like, well, God, why didn't we delete everything? So it's really wishy-washy, and I don't like that in general, but it really works for this. So it leaves me really wondering, like, what the fuck are they going to do if the main character isn't involved anymore? But they actually ended on a really good question, though. Erlich actually asked, well, what about me? And then it goes to credits, which it was supposed to be like a pithy joke about, like, am I, or like, oh, I'm an egotist. But no, it's actually an important point. If Bachman like he got removed as CEO, but that doesn't mean necessarily that he's removed from the board. That doesn't seem like it seems like you would have to have a unanimous vote to remove board members, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's going to be what's going to happen with that is they're going to need him, and they're going to try to buy him back, and he's going to have to get way too much to make it worth it. But that's pretty much all I got for this. I've got to go. I think I'm going to be streaming some Minecraft. I'm going to introduce a buddy to the game tonight. We're going to stream that, and hopefully that'll be a good time. So if you go over to Gaming Division, I did it right, that one, or like it'll eventually end up there. But if you go up to twitch.tv/Kamurai25, it may be up there if you are relatively close to when this went live. But until next time, if you watch this, thank you very much, and you'll see me next time. Bye.